go ahead and start up YouTube and Twitch. Seems like both of those are operational. Let's go ahead and make sure that we are connecting without an issue. So far, so good. Excellent connection for YouTube. And let's go ahead and check Twitch, make sure that it is operational. Let's see. Looks good. Sound seems to be pretty good. Go check. Check 1, 2. Looks good. Excellent. All right. So that takes care of that. And now what? What else? Let's go ahead and go back over here. Both of those are set, ready to go. And let's see here. Good. So far, so good. Let's see here. I think I am ready to go. Is that frozen? No, just lower quality. Okay, good. All right, so let me go ahead and start the timer here on OBS. 37 minutes here on this clock. And so over here on the timer, where's my timer? Where's timer? There we are. Go to interact, and I'm going to go ahead and reset this to 37 minutes. And we're going to go ahead and start. We are set, ready to go. All right. So, let's see. Everything is working as it should, it looks like. Can't complain about anything right now. So, on the board, what I'm going to write is I'm going to write memorization. So right now we are working on memorization. Memorization. If I can spell it. Okay, memorization. And in particular, we are working on memorization of the frequencies on the keyboard. The frequencies on the keyboard, okay? So right now we're just doing piano keys. And as I've said in previous lives, this sort of information is absolutely useless unless you are an acoustician or you are a piano tuner. But the purpose here for memorizing the piano keys is simply a mental exercise in storytelling, visualization, and working with a fixed set of data. So if you want to see how that's done, then you can stick around. If not, have at it, and you'll find a lot more interesting live streams here on YouTube, okay? So what I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and get set up here, and over on my, in fact, guys can probably, adios. You have a great day. So over here, okay, over here, this is a list of names. This is a list of names, or I should say it's notes. It's note values, okay? These note values correspond to the notes on the piano, right? And if I were to play through every single one of the notes on the piano, which would be called chromatic, right? Those would be all 88 keys, all 88 keys on the keyboard, okay? So like I said, this practice exercise, once again for the next 34 minutes, this is purely an exercise in the memorization process for storing number data, in particular frequencies. Hello, Zach. Hello. All right, so here we go. So as we're taking a look here, I think I can go ahead and pull this guy back here because you probably don't need to see the screen. I'll try and explain it as well as I can. Oh, let's go ahead and put you, oh, come on. You guys go back. Now that I've made you thoroughly sick. What? You gonna stay? Oh, come on. There we go. All right. Hello, Tristan. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so as I was saying, this is a memorization stream. And so far we've done about, I think this is maybe the third or fourth actual stream that we've done here. And so what notes have we memorized, okay? We have memorized the the numbers and the note values and the frequencies for the bottom three notes, the middle three notes, as well as the top three notes, okay? So let's just do a quick review here as far as what has been done, and let's go ahead and take a look here. So the first note here on the keyboard is an A. It's an A0 on the keyboard. It's an A0. And an A0 corresponds, it's the first note, all right? It belongs to the 0th octave, and it has a frequency of 27.5. 27.5. The next note is going to be a B. It's going to be a B flat. Hello, Jelly. Hello, hello. It's going to be a B flat or an A sharp, and it has a frequency of, and here, so the frequencies are the hard part, which is why I'm doing the memorization process. The frequency for the low A sharp, or the it would be A sharp 0, is going to be 30 point, let's see if I've got this right, 39, yeah, 39.135 24. 13524. Let's see if that's right. It's 29. 29.13524. Can I do? Oh, yes. Thanks, Jelly. Yes, I am doing well. No, unfortunately, I'm not taking requests right now. This is purely a memorization stream. This is a practice stream. So if you want some other music, there are fantastic musicians out there who would, I'm sure, be able to meet your requests. So hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. And I'm gonna go back to my memorization. So thank you. All right, so on the next note that we have, the next note, it is going to be a B, okay? And B belongs to it's still in the 0th octave, okay? And it has a frequency. Now here's where it starts to get a little bit interesting, in that, okay, I can see it now. So this one here, this has a frequency of 30.86 86771. 30.86771. Let's see if that's right. That is correct. Good. Okay, so that's a review. And quickly, I'm going to run through to my next one, which is going to be my middle three notes here on the keyboard. Okay, the middle three notes on the keyboard are going to be, it's going to be B, C, and D. B, C, and C sharp, or D. Okay. And let's see here. Just for curiosity. What's in those? Okay. So, back to what I was saying. So this is the memorization for the middle three notes, okay? On the keyboard, this one would be B, C, and C sharp. Now, once again, these are the frequencies, the octave numbers, I should say the note numbers, the note names, the octave numbers, and the frequencies, okay? So, let's go take a look here. In the middle three notes, these are going to be 39, 40, and 41. 39, 40, and 41. We would call this middle C. Middle C is the 40th note, okay? Now, part of that is locked in, but also, as we've talked about before, it's the process of building the stories around the memorization in order to create a good solid memory, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look here. If we're on the 39th note on the keyboard, okay, it is a B. It belongs to the 3rd octave, and it has a frequency. Now here's where I have to work a little bit to get my to get the story back. It's a B, 39th note, and it's the 3rd octave, and it has a frequency of I can see the story, but I'm not quite there yet. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go take a look here and see what the story is. So this is part of the review. This is energy barred jelly is the number stream that goes along with the frequency. Those are the numbers. So energy barred jelly, that's right. Okay, so here on the keyboard, this is the note we're talking about in particular. Okay, this is our B. This is B3. It's the 39th note. And remember that our character here is 39, so it's Moby, Moby with the hump. And the more times you build these stories out, the better it is. So I don't mind going back and reviewing the stories each time, because each time I rebuild the story and I try to build out the information again, the more effective the memory becomes. It's not just arbitrary memory. So what I have here is the 39th note, so therefore that corresponds to the name Moby if you're using the major system, and it belongs to the note name B, okay, which is an archetype so there are 12 archetypes here on the keyboard, and one for each note on the one for each of the 12 keys, and therefore it corresponds to B. B is a priest sort, okay? That corresponds, by the way, down to the final B that we were just playing, which was Simcha the Psalm Singer. And so therefore we have this character, Moby with the hump. He's a humpbacked priest, if you will, and he's more like he can wield his energy and throw it here, there, and everywhere. And so therefore he's casting his energy beam. It hits a bard, and he falls into the jelly. Energy barred jelly. Okay, so now we've built out the story. We also want to remember that, or we want as much as we can to recall the fact that our friend Moby wears a turquoise robe. He's wearing a turquoise robe, so we want to see the flash of that robe. We want to see all the color, all of that interesting information to make it more believable and more realistic, building out the image. Okay, we'll get a little drink of water here. So l'chaim. Okay, so back to the memorization stream. We've done the bottom three. We've done the first one up in the center. Now this is review. This is stuff we've already done before. And then we're going to go to the middle note. Now the middle note is the 40th note, and it has. So I'm going to work backwards. Actually, I'm going to create my story in my head, just because that's my drill, if you will, is story creation. Okay, so I need to rebuild the story, and then from the story extract the information. Hello. So with that being said, let's go ahead and work backwards here. So on my position here on the keyboard, I have a friend, and his name is Royce. Okay? And my friend Royce is a mystic. He's a mystic, okay? And he wears a bronze robe. So my friend Royce, he's a mystic, and he wears a bronze robe. And what is our friend, the bronze-robed one, wearing? Or what is he doing? Well, he is so engrossed in his meditations that, and he's studying this notched stick. We would call it a wand. And he continues to walk. Until finally he falls, because he's so intent on studying this notched stick that he falls into a channel of water, and he's completely soaked, and he comes spluttering out on the other side, and he finds himself in a field of leeks. A leek field. Okay? So there's my story. And now I have to extract the information from that story. So the fact that his name is Royce tells me that he is the 40th note. Once again, this is using the major system. He's the 40th note. The fact that he is a mystic tells me that he is going to be a C. He is a C on the keyboard. And the fact that he's wearing a bronze robe tells me that he belongs to the 4th octave. Now, the little story gives me the frequency. The word notched corresponds to 261. Channel corresponds to 6 in 6, 2, 5. Leak corresponds to 5, 7. Put all those together, we end up with 261, 261 point, so 261.62, yeah, corresponds to 261.62557. There's middle C with that frequency. All right. My next character, once again, I'm working backwards. I want to get very, very good at recounting these stories, because this is where the memorization is actually occurring, is in the recounting of the story. The next story involves a friend, Reed. Reed of, now where's he from? Because I did want to give him a character. Reed of Ord. That's right. So I had to cheat for that one, okay? So we have Reed of Ord, and over here on the keyboard, by the way, it's this one. So this is Reed of Ord, and Reed of Ord, he is a king. He's a great kingly sort of individual, and he corresponds. So Reed of Ord, he's a great king, and he's wearing bronze armor. The exact same as Royce of Ayars. Royce of Ayars. Okay? Now, with that information, what is he doing? What is our friend Reed of Ord, the great king, the great bronze king, what is he doing? Well, he is pouring honey. He's pouring honey over this gecko. The gecko is not pleased whatsoever, so the gecko runs, and he scares the gecko. This honey-covered gecko scares the nymph Daphne, and then Daphne, in her haste to be free, from the honey-covered gecko, she falls, or she steps very heavily into a bucket of chum. Okay, so there's my story. Reed of Ord, the bronze king. Pouring honey over the gecko, who's not very happy at that. The gecko runs to our friend's Daphne. Daphne is shrieking her head off and steps right into a bucket of chum. Let's unpack this. All of this story gives me all of the numbers I need in order to remember the current information. The name Reed corresponds to the number 41. The fact that our friend Reed is a king means that we are working with a C sharp or a D flat. The fact that our king is a member of the Bronze Defenders, right? This particular league or legion corresponds to the 4th octave. Now the story gives me the information. The story gives me the information about the frequency. The frequency corresponds, so the word honey is the number 2. Gecko corresponds to 7, 7. And then finally, Daphne corresponds to 1, 8, 2. And then chum is 6, 3. If we put all these together, we end up with a frequency. This is C sharp. The 41st note on the keyboard, corresponds to 277.182. 18263. And let's go ahead and check that out, see if that is correct. 277.18263. There we go. So there is our frequency. There's our frequency for the 41st note on the keyboard. That takes care of the middle 3. Now let's jump up to the top and let's take a look at the last 3 notes of the keyboard. Okay? Jump down here, looking at the last 3. I have indeed been working on the 70, that would be the 86th note on the keyboard. So let's go ahead and see if I can remember the story. Chances are I probably won't, but let's at least give it a try and see where we end up, okay? So we have here on the last note, or the 87th note on the keyboard, what sort of story are we dealing with? This note, by the way, right here. That note on the keyboard, what is the information that pertains to that note? Okay, Well, let's go ahead and first remember who the character is who lives on that note. The character who lives there is Veach the Fishy. Veach the Fishy. Okay? And what is Veach the Fishy? Veach the Fishy is he's a fisherman. He's a fisherman. He's a tender of the streams and the lakes, if you will. So he's an he's a laborer who takes care of the waters in order to have some sort of subsistence. Okay? So there we have our friend, Veach the Fishy. He's a fisherman, and he is a member of the Amethyst Guild. The Amethyst Guild, or as I like to call them, the Amethyst Wizards. So remember, each of our characters here has a particular, each of our friends here belongs to a particular guild. On the keyboard, there are 7 guilds, at least on the piano keyboard. There are 7 guilds, each guild corresponding to a given octave. So the 7th octave corresponds to the amethyst, the color amethyst. Okay? So we have our friend Veach the Fishy. He's a fisherman, and he is wearing an amethyst, or like a purple robe. He belongs to the Amethyst Wizards. Now, what is he doing? Well, he is doing something with the Megan doll. He has the Megan doll, which is a horror character. You probably have seen it before, kind of a mechanical doll that has a mind of its own. And he's swinging it around by its feet, just swinging it around and just laughing his head off as he does it. He's got complete control of this monster. And as he does it, as he swings it around, he ends up hitting this. Now here's where my memory is failing me, because I know that I have the word hippie. I have the word hippie, but I believe I have one more word before I get to that point. And let's see here. Hippie Medusa soap. There we go. So the remainder of the stream is he has the hippie doll, and he's swinging it maniacally around his head, and he ends up hitting a hippie. And she turns her head. As she turns her head, you see that indeed it is no hippie. It is Medusa herself. It's hippie with a Medusa face. If you're familiar with that, I believe it's called the Gorgonaga or something like that. The face of the Gorgon. And so we have the hippie with a face of Medusa. And here what happens is, as she's being hit by the Megan doll, she ends up herself taking a bar of soap, throwing it on the ground, and it slips under the feet of Veach the Fishy, and he ends up falling. His feet fall right out from underneath him, and boom, he's done for. Okay? So there's our story. Let's go ahead and review it one more time. Remember, this act of telling a story and of trying to create the visualization, this is the actual memorization process. Everything else is just review and recall. Okay? So let's go ahead and recreate the story. Once again, this is the story to help us remember information about this note on the keyboard. Okay? So let's go ahead and work backwards a little bit. We have our friend Veach the Fishy. And what is he doing? Veach the Fishy is, first of all, he is a fisherman. He's a fisherman, and he is wearing a purple robe, right? This is information that is important to the memory, so we have to recall it. So our friend Veach the Fishy wearing his purple robe, which is funny because he's all covered with the slime of the fish now. Why would he be wearing his royal purple robes to go fishing? See, the more layers you can add to memory, the easier it is to recall the information. So here we have our friend Veach the Fishy. He is a fisherman. He's wearing his royal purple robes. And then what happens to him? Well, he has our friend the Megan doll. Swinging her around by her feet, and he ends up hitting a hippie. The hippie moves her head, and you see that it is none other than the monster Medusa. And then Medusa comes along, and she's very upset, takes our bar of soap. Hello, Taylor, how you doing? Hope your evening's going well. Are you at the gym tonight? So our friend Medusa takes her bar of soap, throws it on the ground, slips under the feet of Veach the fishy. He upends, boom, falls, and the clatter. You can see him flopping around like the fisherman that he is. So now let's go ahead and unpack that information. That's our story that we've created. Now let's go ahead and unpack it. All right. Very nice, very nice. It's good to chill. It's good to chill, right? So here we go. So let's go ahead and unpack our information. The name Veach corresponds to the number 86. Then from 86, we then remember that he's a fisherman. Since he's a fisherman, that corresponds to the or the archetype of farmer or land, like someone who makes their living usually through some sort of subsistence. That's a farmer, something like that. Okay. So once we have that information, we have two elements. The third thing is, remember, he's wearing his purple robe, so he belongs to the 7th octave, the 7th group. And then now we're going to work backwards and remember the frequency. So the word Megan corresponds to the number stream 37372. And then Medusa is the next portion. Medusa corresponds to 3-1-S. Medusa. There are three consonants there, so it's 3-1-0. 3-1-0. Okay, and then we have. Oh no, hold on. Did I skip one? I skipped hippie. Bummer. How could I skip a hippie? How can you skip a hippie? I tell ya. So let's go. Let's work backwards here. So it was Megan, hippie, Medusa, right? And so from that information, we actually need to build out here. Let's go to Megan. So that was 372. Hippie is 9. And then we have Medusa, which is 310. And then soap. Soap is 09. Exactly, and it's supposed to be funny. So what I'm just describing here is, so it's a process for memorizing numbers, okay? And it's called the major system. It was first introduced, or it was first kind of codified in the 1700s. And what it is every single one of the 10 numerals, 0 through 9, gets a consonant associated with it. So for instance, a 0 is an S or a Z sound. It's all phonetic, is an S or a Z sound. A 1 is a T or a D sound. A 2 is an N sound. 3 is an M. 4 is R sound. 5 is L. 6 is a Ch, J sound. 7 is a K, G sound. 8 is a F, V sound. And finally 9 is a P, B sound. So in order to memorize numbers, in this case, if I work backwards, because I'm not going to look at the screen now, if I work backwards, knowing the major system, okay, I can take that word stream, which is Megan, hippie, Medusa, soap, and I can remember the frequency for the note here on the keyboard, which would be the B flat 7. The B flat 7. So if I work backwards here, and it takes some time because I'm not like that yet. So it's going to be 3,739.31009. So, and I'll check and see if that's correct. So according to the story, if I encoded it correctly, then the note at the 86th. So the 86th note on the keyboard, which is an A sharp or a B flat belonging to the 7th octave, should have a frequency of 3,729.31009. Let's see if that's correct. Yes, that is correct. So the 86th note on the keyboard is an A sharp or a B flat, belongs to the 7th octave, and has a frequency of 3,729.31009. There we go. So, as I said at the beginning of this stream, this sort of memorization is just probably the most boring and useless. It is so much fun. I don't deny it. Some of the most fun memorization you can do. The only thing is that for most people, a strict memorization of the keyboard is not going to be very useful, right? If you're a piano technician or like a piano tuner, it's extremely useful. Or if you're someone who works in audio editing or audio technique, it's extremely useful. I actually, since I'm beginning to understand the frequencies, I'm able to EQ music more effectively because I am able to use my knowledge of the keyboard at the piano to have a better understanding of how frequencies work. So in that sense, it's very, very useful. But more importantly, and this is why I start all of my streams this way, is that the process of memorizing even numbers, even something as boring as numbers, the process of memorization is the exact same than when it comes to memorizing music. A chord, for instance, a chord is a number. And so if you give that number some sort of value, some sort of quality, then what ends up happening is you can create stories. You can create stories, chords, one chord moving to the next. Hello, hello, hello. So one chord moving to the next chord, that's a number stream. You can interpret that as a number stream. Scales, or I should say, melodies are made up of scale numbers, and scale numbers can be converted into numbers, which then you can use either the major system or you can use the peg system, something of that nature, and you can memorize. You can turn it into a story. So you could actually create a story in your mind, which is much easier to remember. You could create a story and actually you could be practicing music in your head at the theoretical level by simply running the stories through your mind. It is the most freaky thing I have ever had happen before. And mind you, this part of practice, I'm completely new to this. I've only been doing this for just less than a year. And the little bit of practice I've done, it is the craziest thing, Taylor. I will be, after spending some time practicing this style of memorization, I'll be in the shower or something like that, and I will be having the chords of the piece of music that I'm working on just going through my head at random. I'm not even having to work at it. It's so freaky. It is the strangest thing. So that's kind of given me hope, and that's why I continue to pursue it, even though it takes a little bit more time, but it's not normal, at least for me. And at least for me, it's always been a huge struggle to be able to actually. Now, the crazy thing is maybe it's the same for you. I don't know. Haha, could be. But the thing is, for me, it's so strange because I can just be sitting doing nothing, and because I've turned the chord into an image, my brain wants to play with it, and it wants to look at it and say, well, what about this in relation to another chord somewhere else? Or why would I have this particular pattern here? And it is a wild use of memorization. Yes, I am. I will admit that, and it's not always to my benefit for sure. It's led me down many a rabbit trail. So, but anyway, so yeah, all it is it's using traditional memorization. Exactly. I can see that. So, this process of memorization, it's been used for probably over 200 years. It's been used for about 200 years in the mnemonic championships. Okay, so this is where they're international. They're international organizations where folks just memorize streams of numbers. Just the numbers over and over and over again. Decks of cards, you probably have seen that before. And so this, essentially what I'm doing here is taking my knowledge of memorization that I've studied, not really practiced, but just studied I know, we're the weirdest things ever, which is why we're so interesting, right? I mean, can you imagine if we were boring like a tree, just sitting there doing our job? No, we get to do all sorts of strange, wacky things. So anyway, this uh, I saw that you could memorize numbers very effectively. And I thought, well, okay, well, that's really useful. And then my knowledge of music theory, I kind of drew on that to say, well, what if you attempted to convert musical information into just pure number? If you convert musical information into pure number, you can then treat it in the same way as you do numbers in the regular, well-established mnemonic techniques. So things like memory palaces, things like peg word lists, things like the major system like we have here. Um, it's effective. That is an excellent question. That is an excellent question. I have thought that very thing, and I don't think it does take away from the art of it. If anything, the little bit that I have explored, the little bit that I've explored the technique, I've found it actually enhances the art. And it enhances the art in this way. It turns music into a spatial art. So I don't know if you've studied geometry at all. Well, I mean, of course, in grade school you would have, but there's this Greek mathematician called Euclid, and he has a set of books called Euclid's Elements. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it does. Yeah. So there's this idea, Euclid's Elements, in which he proves logic using just shape, relationship of one object to the other. Okay, and that's the way that we were taught logic in Western culture for a long, long, long time, until pretty much the last 100 years. It was always part of your established, rigorous university education. You knew your Euclid back and forth. So what that tells us is that our brains are geared towards spatial reasoning, towards a spatial recognition of information. And so what you can do is you can leverage that spatial awareness, that spatial logic, if you convert other mediums to a spatial format, or visual format would be another way to look at it. Then what happens is your brain is more than willing to continue to make art with this proxy. So you could think of it almost as it's a proxy by which you convert sound, which is its own medium. You are converting sound into a spatial format, a spatial entity. And then you take that spatial entity and you can then look at it in relation to other entities more effectively. I found this to especially be the case when you're dealing with kind of a complex harmonic structure, things like Bach, things like when you're trying to do an analysis of a piece of music. Then it's at least for me, it's difficult to hold all of the harmonic information in my mind at one time. I can only focus on one bit of harmonic information, like a single chord or a single phrase at a time. And so by converting it into a spatial or a visual entity, uh, oh, that would be great. I would love that. I would love to see that. In fact, one thing that I want to do sometime is actually take make an actual TikTok video, possibly even a YouTube video, where it's just a breakdown. It's a breakdown of things like the Bach chorales, things like the Bach etudes, preludes and fugues, Beethoven, even things like more like jazz standards, things like that. The real book, things like that, where it would just be so fascinating to see the analysis, especially the analysis in relation to. Oh yeah, for sure. Um, so if you have if you have the analysis with the mind of memorizing. See, that's why I want to lay a really strong foundation of memorization, so that when it comes time to do the analysis, for people it's not just a theoretical head knowledge. You can actually take the analysis that you've done, convert it into the set of images that you've created, and then use that to actually help with the learning of the piece of music. So that's my end game. So that's why I spend a third of my concrete practice time in the memorization, with that end in mind, to create a rigorous and well-trained memory. So that's that. Now we move on over into the technique side of the house. So gonna move this over here. Gonna go ahead and start up my metronome. Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm feeling more and more confident as time goes on, and having the ability to run these daily, or when I can, these daily live streams has been really, really useful, because I constantly practice. Yes, for sure. For sure. Exactly. That's why I love it. I love it when you pop in. I think yesterday I had a couple other musicians who were popping in, and we were talking about some music theory and stuff like that. And it is just the best thing ever, because then it gives me a chance to take the ideas that have been bouncing around in my head, and to try and force them into words, and present them and represent them, and do it over and over again. And it's just it's a really fun process, and I appreciate it. So I appreciate TikTok, even though we can complain about how stupid it is. I can appreciate it as a learning tool. It's like the world's biggest practice room. All right, so here we go. Back to good old Hannon. Back to good old Hannon. Let's see how it's been going. I was lax the last few days with our program. Hello, Rasmussen. Hello. There's our metronome. All right. I know it is bad. It is bad, but hey, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing, and it's at least for how bad TikTok is, it sure beats having no audience that Twitch has. I'll bet you I don't get one person over on Twitch at all. And I mean, don't even get started on YouTube. It's a barren wasteland over there. I'm sure that I would probably have a little bit more of an audience if I posted more regular content versus just streaming, because otherwise I don't really have an audience. But as I've said before, I'm willing to just use streaming as my practice for presentation. And if I actually create content, great. If not, oh well. So. Oh my goodness, that is no fun. Hello, JJ Morrison. Hello. How you doing? Yes, you can boo away. You can boo away. How did you get banned? How'd you get banned, Taylor? One thing I do know is that you can always just create another, hey, manifestations, hello. So, you can always, yeah, it is crazy. So one thing you can do, and this is something that a few people on TikTok that I follow, what they do is they'll have like 2 or 3 different accounts. When one account is banned or reported and kind of on a cooldown period, they just start streaming to the other account. So you kind of link the two, and that seems to work for the folks. So, just something to think about. It's just something to think about. All right, so let's go ahead and get in. Ah, hey, Balder, I see you. I see you over on Twitch. I see you. I see you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the work. You as well, Taylor. You as well. Oh, come on, Rasmussen. Yes. I wonder why that would be. I wonder why that would be, Balder. Hello, Zach. How you doing? Oh, bother. I'm doing the wrong one. I'm doing my downward motion. Hold on, let's try it. I'm doing a downward dog when I should be doing an up dog. Here we go. Balder than a monkey. Really, Balder? That is interesting. No doubt they have their stream set up like it's streamlined for streaming. I should have another drink, right? Is this IRL? No, this is not IRL. This is completely fake. What you're seeing is just pure AI. This is just AI. This water is not real. This thing is not real. The timer's not real. The metronome's not real. None of it is real. None of it is real. We're just making it up as we go along. Let's go ahead and switch on over. I'm going to switch. Oh, come on. I need... Where is Hanin? Hanin, help me, Hanin. Exactly, exactly. To life, l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim, to life. There we go. Hanin exercises. Hanin number 1. There we go. All right. Let's continue. Let's continue. Here we go. Where were we? Single octave. Now we're going to come up. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, manifestation. How am I streaming? So I'm not sure I understand your question, Joey. Are you asking where am I streaming? I'm streaming over on YouTube and TikTok over on my computer, and then here on my phone I'm on on my phone I'm on TikTok, and then on my computer I'm on Twitch and YouTube. So. And then what you're hearing is sound that's routed from my computer into an audio interface that then runs to the phone. So we're kind of getting at least a somewhat similar response. That is wild, Baldur. So 37-second response for YouTube. That is insane. Okay. Which is, that's really strange because I have the browsers, they're both embedded as you can see. And, yeah, I don't understand why that wouldn't be the case. Crazy. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Hanin. Let's do the downward action of the Hanin. That's right. That's right. We are kangaroo. Oh, it does sound like kangaroo from Sasan's. Oh yeah, that is strange. Yes, it is OBS. Yes, OBS on the computer, and it works really well. I'm using Multistream, ATM Multistream plugin. So far, it has worked like a charm for sending out multiple streams to Twitch and to YouTube. So. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and increase my speed just a little bit, and I'm going to move on over into C# major. So let's go ahead and get the metronome. So how's everybody's night going? Or it could be day. Oh, of course, Joey. Hope you're doing well. Let's go ahead and go back over here. And I need my Metronome, let's go ahead and turn it up to, let's do straight 90. Yes, yes, I know, Rasmussen. If I can read the comments, they're too close. Yes. Here we go. So let's do C sharp. Oh, well, thank you so much. So, what I'm doing right now is I'm currently doing a practice stream, and so right now I'm on my technique part of my practice, which reminds me, thank you. What is that? Is that Tina? Hello, Tina. So I need to switch this on over to, we just did memorization. We did 40 minutes of memorization practice, and now I'm going to do technique practice. So my practice time, at least what I stream right now, is broken into 3 parts. The first part is memorization, the second part is technique, and the third part is sight reading. So kind of the 3 fundamentals of practice. So there we go. Practice. So what am I doing here? This is technique, and I'm doing piano. I'm doing Hanon. There we go. I really should get a larger board. There we go. Hanon. You guys can just barely see that. So there we go. So this is a Hanon exercise. Hanon was a pretty famous composer. Pretty poor if I resorted to watching you. I know, I know. You really should be spending more time. Okay, Balder, so it's 27 seconds behind. That is... Okay, that's crazy. All right, so hello, Hillary, hello. Currently working on Hanon right now. So... There we go. So I do a single octave. Since I'm doing all 12 keys for Hanon, I only do a single octave. Normally you do Hanon in 2 octaves, okay? There we go. Oh, thank you so much, Hillary. Oh, you're too kind. All right, JJ Morrison, what would you know about slaying the dragon? You know nothing about slaying the dragon. How was your stream, Hillary, by the way? Because you were streaming tonight, right? Oh, this exercise right here, it's for the extension of the 4th and the 5th finger in the right hand when you're doing descending, and it's for the extension of the 4th and 5th finger in the left hand when you're ascending. Okay, so you essentially you're jumping a 6th. So like that. Oh, a slow version. Oh, sure. Okay, sure. I'll do that. If you're ever interested, Tina, in this exercise, take a look at on IMSLP, IMSLP. Hold on, let's see here. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the stream to keep up with you jokers over here on YouTube. I can't keep up with it. You guys are going wild. All right, so I'm gonna slow this down. And sorry, Tina, IMSLP for the win. So I'm going to start it here at a nice slow speed. Let's go with 50 beats per minute, Tina. And what this exercise is the fact, what I'll do is I'll pause the metronome for right now. So let's go back. I don't know how familiar you are with the different keys, but let's go ahead and take a look at, let's do D major. D major as an example, okay? So I'm going to first play the scale of D major. Oh. Okay, so there we have our D major scale, okay? So the Hanon exercise, like I said, the very first exercise, it's a book of 60 exercises. And so the very first exercise is an extension. What you do is you take the normal exercise, which is, okay, this is called a 1 through 5. It's a 5-finger exercise. It's pretty much what every pianist starts with when you're first learning how to control your hands. And what you do is you shift. So I'm going to go back to D major. Okay. So with that, what you do is instead of going to the number 2 of your scale degree, you're going to jump. So this is the number 2 scale degree. You're going to jump the 3rd. So this is unison or root, 2nd, root, 3rd, root, 2nd, root, 3rd. And then what you do is you continue the rest of the exercise as if it were a 1 through 5 exercise, okay? So, see that? As opposed to, that's a 1 through 5 exercise. This is the first Hanon exercise. What you'll notice when you do this exercise is you're having to open up. So this right here, hold on, let me get my hand in view. So this right here is pretty much the position that your hand is in for a 1 through 5 exercise. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward, okay? In order to then get the exercise, you have to extend. It's hard to do here, but what you're doing is you're extending the distance between your 5th and your 4th finger. It's one of the weaker, so the strength of the 4th and 5th finger for a pianist, it's the weakest connection for your hand. So as pianists, we have to spend a lot of extra time building up the strength. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's our exercise. I'm not sure exactly what it's like for you, Hillary, but for a pianist, that sort of we have to work very hard in order to build up the strength. Otherwise, the jump or the movement from a 4 to a 5 is very sloppy. It's very sloppy. Part of that is because on the back of the hand, the tendon, at least this is the way it was explained to me, the tendon from your 4th finger goes along. Okay, yeah. All right, that makes sense. So on your hand, the tendon that controls the 4th finger, it lays on top, and I never can get this right. I think it lays at some point it crosses over the pinky. And so the actual anatomy of the hand is a lot, it's not as well defined of a control. Your hands don't normally, like for instance, when most of us are doing just regular exercises, gardening, painting, preparing food, those sorts of things, we don't really have to have the dexterity from a 4th to a 5th finger. So as far as the brain is concerned, the pattern, the neurological pathway that's developed, it ties those two together. And it's the clinch reflex, right? So when you clinch down, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hillary. So when you're doing like a clinch exercise, your brain, your neurological pathway is designed to lock in. It causes the clenching, and I'm sure there's a better word than clenching, but it causes the clenching of the 4th and 5th fingers simultaneously. Do you see that? So, and in fact, for me, it still is difficult. I can kind of bend the 4th finger, and I have to be careful which fingers I'm bending here, right? I don't want to curse you guys out. So as I'm moving this here, okay, I can bend the 4th finger. Oh, of course, Hillary, you take care. Have Have a wonderful night. So anyway, you want to be able to have the dexterity between the fourth and the fifth fingers, and so we do a lot of exercises in order to build out that strength and the and how did you know manifestations? So anyway, it is the process of building out the dexterity between those two. Okay, so I don't know if you're still here, Tina, or not. I don't know if I bored you to death with that explanation. Oh, and I've got to do a puzzle here in order to keep the. There we go. All right. I'm definitely going to have to go back and read your guys' chats, and I see they're being stored on the screen, so now I'm going to be able to see it. All right, perfect, Tina. So anyway, what you're doing is that exercise. So in the left hand, you just simply transfer up, and what you're doing is you're playing only the notes in the particular scale. In this instance, it's D major. You can do this exercise in all 12 of the keys, right? So here we go. See that? So normally you do this for 2 octaves, okay? Now, I'm sorry, I think I probably mentioned the word imslip and then completely left off. So there's a website called IMSLP, and on that website they have free PDF music. All right, perfect. Oh, that is wonderful, Tina. That's wonderful. So on IMSLP, you can actually have access to the sheet music for this exercise that I'm showing you. Also, if you check out the link in my bio, there's a link to a website called MuseScore, musescore.com, and in there I have a copy of this particular exercise, Hanon number 1, and it's laid out in all 12 keys so you can see what it looks like on the paper. Okay, so that was going up, and that's how you can get access to the copy. Now coming down, it's different altogether. Okay, when you're coming down, now what you're doing is you're focusing on the extension in the right hand. Okay, so if I'm back here, I've played my final repetition. Okay, so now I end up on D, on the 1 of the scale. Now what I want to do is I want to play the 5th. Okay, I find the 5th of the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and now I'm wanting to extend the distance that my fingers are traveling. In this case, it's a 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2 in the left hand, and it's 5, 4, 5, 4 in the right hand. See that? That's a third. That's a third going down. That's a second. Second going down. Third going down. Oh, thank you so much. And there you see. And now notice, the exercise itself, most people, what you do is you simply play this portion of the exercise, okay? So listen, this is the way that the exercise is written. And there you have it. So that would be the exercise coming down, okay? Now, what I like to do is I like to focus my attention, because notice this exercise is all about developing the strength and the flexibility of that extension of the 4th and the 5th finger. In the right hand, what I like to do is I like to sit there and I like to toggle it back and forth. And I'm sorry, YouTube and chat. I've been completely leaving off responding to any of your comments. It looks like you guys are having a high old time. See that? So I like to play about 3 or 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I also like to switch it up a little bit. Thank you so much for liking the live. So I like to switch it up a little bit, and I like to go to staccato. And by simply switching up these exercises, you take what is a very, very simple exercise, and now you can practice it legato, you can practice it staccato, you can practice it slow, you can practice it fast, you can do all sorts of weird things with a single exercise to get all of the benefits that the exercise has to give you. In this instance, the essential benefit is it's practicing a strengthening and a dexterity in the extension of the 4th and 5th finger. Okay, so now let's go ahead. I'm going to do a slight variation of this exercise, and I'm going to bring my metronome back in now that you can see how it goes. And hopefully, Tina, that was clear enough so you can see how it goes. And let me go ahead and throw my metronome on. I'm going to go ahead and start at 60. I'm going to show you how you would take this exercise up through the different speeds, okay? So I'm going to start at 60 beats per minute. And I'm going to show you a slightly modified version that I like to use because these exercises can get boring pretty fast, okay, especially when you have to do them over and over again. And the problem with that is the more you do an exercise, if you begin to get bored with an exercise, then you stop getting the benefits from the exercise, okay? So what you do is you don't stop doing the exercise. You want to continue to do the exercise, but you figure out ways to make it interesting and enlightening to yourself. All right, manifestations, thank you, thank you. Metronome guy who takes the subway. Oh, Balder, you are something else. All right. Has anyone caught the name of the exercise on MuseScore? So it's Hanon, H-O-N-O-N, or H-A-N-O-N. Hanon exercise number 1. It's also called the virtuoso pianist, okay? L'chaim. All right, so here we go. Here's the exercise, and here it's going to be split slightly. You're going to hear it's a little different. Oh. I'm going to try that one more time. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the exercise, and instead of traveling with my hands in both directions, I'm making my right hand come down and my left hand go up. Watch. So I take the exercise, watch. And I'm going. I swap it, and the reason why I'm swapping it is in order to make my brain work harder. And you could see I was making mistakes if you're familiar with the exercise. I was making mistakes, and that shows that my brain is actually working. So when you're making mistakes, that's actually a good thing, because that means that you don't know the material well enough, so your brain is working hard and it's actually developing new neurological pathways, and you're actually doing the process of learning. Okay, it's pretty cool. So here we go. I'm not sure I understand that, Baldur. Ah. So I just stay on that exercise until it gets comfortable. Okay, so I would normally do maybe like 2 or 3 runs of that exercise, and then what I do is I'm now going to increase my speed. So once you get comfortable, then you want to increase your speed by as fast as you can possibly manage and still keep a nice clean tone. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and jump to 70 beats per minute, and let's go ahead and see what that looks like. I'm not even touching that, Baldur. I am not touching that. All right, so that was at 60, or that was 70 beats per minute. If I only had a brain. Isn't that almost like would that be like Ignorance Anonymous, right? Hello, my name is Nathan, and I have a brain. That's a tricky one. All right, so that's how it would sound at 70 beats per minute. If I didn't, that would be something between an ad and a straw man scarecrow. Oh, Baldur. Oh my goodness. Oh, Baldur, you are something else. Just because you think you're taking a logic course and now you think you can come up with all the stuff. But that is hilarious. I'm pinning that one. There we go. There we go. I'm going to pin it for, let's pin that for 1 minute. There we go. Excellent. All right. Oh, that is great. So now I'm going to go ahead and increase my speed to 70. Let's do 80 beats per minute. Okay. That one gets me all the time, Baldur. Putting that apostrophe in there, I am always messing that up. All right, here we go. The chat, Rasmussen, can only be seen on the chat can only be seen on oh, I think I might have to refresh that one, come to think of it. It can only be seen on Twitch and YouTube. So you're good. You're good. Hold on, let's see here. Twitch. Let me grab that again, because somehow that got messed up. Sorry. Technical difficulties. So here we go. Let's go to Twitch. I need to copy the link, apply, close, and let's go here. Go into Twitch. Oh, did it reset? It looks like it reset. Is that correct? On your guys' end, are the chats coming through properly? They look like it, yeah? All right, good, good. Okay, so back, here we go. Back to the exercise. Back to the exercise. So now we're at, what, 80 beats per minute, I think it was? We have 3 minutes left. Okay, that wasn't too bad, but let's go ahead and do that one again. So now here is where I would then... Oh, not right now, Moshe. Right now I'm just doing a practice exercise, so hope you can find someone who plays it for you. You have a wonderful rest of your evening, my friend. Right, so that takes care. 1 minute to doom, that's right. 1 minute to doom. Oh, 20 seconds, 20 seconds. It actually says 1 minute 32 over here, so I don't know. I think I'm going to go by that stream. All right, so I'm going to actually call it there for technique for right now. And now I'm going to move on over into probably the most embarrassing part of the practice. Well, memorization's pretty embarrassing as well, but sight reading is the most embarrassing and heart-wrenching for you guys because you get to watch me struggle. I now become the toddler. Oh, come on. Oh, let's see here. Just changing my screen. So what I become here is I become the toddler who is constantly stuck rising and falling again and falling again and doing a lot of falling. So tonight, what I'm going to do for my sight reading is I'm going to do Bach's Preludes and Fugues, and that is, yeah, that's a challenge. That is a challenge for sure. So... if you want to look away just out of pity, you know, like when they go to finish off the gladiator, you try not to look. You're more than welcome to leave at this point, because at this point it just becomes really, really boring. But anyway, I'm gonna go get my timer started here, and let's go ahead and edit the timer, make sure we're at 40 minutes. Start. Bada boom, bada bang. Good. 40 minutes on the clock. 40 minutes on the clock. So now we do 40 minutes of straight sight reading, okay? And I have no idea if this philosophy is correct or not, but I hold to the view that reading music is similar to learning how to read a book. And so, yeah, you can, I know, thumbs down, Baldur. I know. Offer me as a sacrifice to the gods. So I hold the view with sight reading that you try and do some of the more difficult music you can, because in so doing, you're building out the ability to read more complex scores. Even though you're slow, you're still actually in the long run, you're going to end up having a better grasp of music in general. It's a theory. I have no way of proving if it's true or not. It's the one I'm sticking by, so you could consider me a guinea pig in a laboratory. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see, I just chose a random page in Bach, and let's do Prelude number 9 in E major. So you'll notice I do a lot of stopping and starting, and I try not to repeat the notes too much. What I do is I end up just slowing down. So you'll see that my concept of time is thrown out the window. Right now I am interested in just the notes themselves. I'm interested in just the interpretation of note material. Okay. I forgot my little stomp box. I'll be right back. Yes, I am a guinea piggy. I just shook you guys all over the place. So this right here, it's a little Bluetooth pedal, and what it does is it allows me to control the music over here on my iPad, okay? In fact, I might just have you guys located right there. Would that work? I wish there was a way I could mirror my screen so that you guys could see what I'm reading, like maybe have some sort of screen off to this side so you could see the music as it's being played. All right, Baldur. Yes, exactly. I was away from keyboard. Ah. Oh, Rasmussen, you are too much. You are too much. All right. So this is the music that I'm working with. All right. And I'll just go ahead and keep you over here on TikTok. I'll just keep you looking down at the music so you can kind of see what I'm doing, an idea of what I'm trying to read through, okay? Here we go. So E major is the key I'm working in. All right, here we go. And also, now that I've got my little pedal, I can move through, and you can see I can change the music, okay? I can change the views of the sheet music. Let's go. And that was fugue number exactly, Rasmussen. I was falling asleep. So we have fugue number 9. That was prelude number 9 in E major, and now we have fugue number 9 in E major. Once again, this is the Well-Tempered Clavier by J.S. Bach. Okay? All right, so that was Fugue, and let's go take a look and see. Hold on, let's go put this back here. Well, come on. See, I wish I had like a big screen TV, guys, that I could put the screen music right behind me. Wouldn't that be amazing? You know, if I could figure out some way to like have the music right here, and then that way you guys could just see the music. So I'm looking here, but it's broadcasted over to that TV. I have no idea if I can figure out how to make that work, but oh man, that would just be the mwah. I would love that. I would love that. All right. So, as you see, we have 25 more minutes of our practice time. Now, I had a comment earlier. Someone wanted me to play Chopin. Well, now's your lucky time, my friend. Of course, you have moved on. You've moved on with your life. I'm sure you've already got your doctorate by now. You're probably working on your retirement, and you are on your third cruise ship by the time I've finished with my sight reading. But what I can do for my sight reading practice is I can pull up a little Chopin. I'll do the Chopin nocturnes, and of course this is going to be same as usual. It's going to be very, very slow, and it's going to be dull and dreary and completely uninspired, but at least it's going to be practice for me. So here we go. Let's go ahead and start in on this is Chopin Nocturne number 1. This is Opus 15. This is number 4. So as usual, I'm just going to try and read to the best of my ability. We'll see what comes of it. By the way, Boulder, I do like that. Yes, the fugue of the Hatfields and the McCoys. Nice to see you, Manifestations, by the way. All right, so here we go. This is Chopin, a Nocturne, it says number 4, but it's Opus 15, number 1. So let's go ahead and play and let's see what we end up with, shall we? Here we go. We're in the key of F, either F major or it would be the corresponding, that'd be D minor. So let's see what it is. Then whatever this is, what did I get myself into? Oh boy. Say a prayer for me, guys. Here we go. Oh, I had a pitch bend on top of it. Is that right? Here we go. And then we repeat it again. Is that right? Oh no, that's not right. Duh. Come on, Nathan. Oh, G flat again. Ah. I can't read. I can't read the stuff anymore. Sorry. It's all right. Oh no. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, so now let's go ahead and try. Should we do some Beethoven now? How about some Beethoven? Sounds like a good plan. Let's give it a try. So let's do a Beethoven sonata. I know, it's like C grade quality, but what do you expect from a baby, huh? What do you expect from a baby? Let's go ahead and do Beethoven. Beethoven Complete Sonatas. Let's go ahead and just grab some page. Let's do a third of the way in. And let's find the first movement. Hey, I don't like the look of this. All right, here's Sonata. This is Sonata number 7, dedicated to the Countess de Braun, to the Braun, probably Braun. Beethoven, Opus 10, number 3, number 7. Sonata number 7. C double sharp, C plus, C plus plus. You can't write a sonata in C++, okay? Did I find a tissue? Yes, I used it. It's in the toilet. Okay, here we go. Let's see where we end up with this. Now, this is really fast. I have no idea what's going to happen, so I'm just going to take it nice and slow. Okay, here we go. It'd help if I had the right key. It would help if I was in the right key again. Bye-bye, Boulder. Boy, 12 seconds left. How about that? Oh, thank you so much for liking the live. Thank you, thank you. You probably are long gone by this point, but thank you so much. Almost done. Ah. Well, and we'll call it there. We'll call it there. Okay. So that was what? We got through at least one page sight reading that. So, yeah. I mean, it's okay. It is okay. It's not nothing. So, hey, gotta be thankful for the little gains that we have, right? So, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna call it there for tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and drop a link here for my sight reading. So this is page 83. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, manifestations. You take care. I'm off now as well. So it was a pleasure having you in my stream. And let's go ahead and hit that. Oh, come on. I don't want to remove that. I want this one to go here. I want to save. So I've got my bookmark saved. And now I'm going to go ahead and head out for tonight. So everyone have a wonderful rest of the evening. And I will see you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.